When it comes to workplace safety, words, they really matter. They have power. We throw around terms like incident and accident almost interchangeably, right? But what if I told you they're not the same thing at all? And that goes for alarm versus alert, too. Getting these definitions right, well, it's not just about being picky with words. It can literally be the difference between a close call and a total catastrophe.
So picture this. You're at your desk, you knock over a glass of water. It spills everywhere. Annoying, for sure, but in the world of safety, what do you actually call that? Is it an incident? A near miss? It seems so simple, but how you label it is a really big deal. Let's dig into why that answer matters so much.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to break this down into 5 key areas. We'll start with the spectrum of events, then talk about the nature of risk, how all this affects our health, the tech we use to stay aware, and finally, the call to action.
All right, let's jump right in with the big 3. You've heard these a million times. Accident, incident, and near miss. Honestly, these are probably the most mixed up terms in the entire safety world. But there's a secret to telling them apart, and it's actually pretty simple. It all boils down to one thing: the outcome. Okay, so check this out. The wild thing is, the exact same event can be an accident, an incident, or a near miss. Let's imagine a box falling off a high shelf in a warehouse. If that box falls and actually hits someone, causing an injury, boom, that's an accident. Now, what if the box just hits the floor? Nobody's hurt, but maybe the contents are damaged. That's an incident. And here's the kicker. What if someone walks right under the shelf and the box falls just a second after they've passed, missing them by an inch? That, my friends, is a near miss. See? Same falling box, but 3 totally different labels, all depending on what happened at the end.
And this is exactly why paying attention to near misses is so important. I love this quote. A near miss is a free lesson. Think about it. It's a warning shot. It's the universe telling you, hey, you have a problem here. Every single near miss that gets reported is a golden opportunity to fix something before it hurts someone. It's like the ultimate cheat code for proactive safety.
Okay, so once we get a handle on these events, the next logical step is to talk about risk. Because, let's be real, not all risks are created equal, right? There's a huge difference between an everyday risk and something truly catastrophic.
So first, let's talk about professional risk. This is basically the stuff that just comes with the territory of doing your job. A paper cut in an office. Maybe you strain your back a little lifting something, a minor slip on a wet spot. It's the kind of risk that's just built into the work you do every day. But then you have major risk. And this is a whole different ballgame. A major risk is the kind of thing you have nightmares about, the thing you hope never happens. We're talking about a massive chemical spill, a structural failure, a huge explosion. It's super rare, but if it happens, the consequences are just enormous. So here's the key difference, right? It's all about that trade-off. Professional risks, they happen all the time, but the impact is usually pretty low. Major risks, they almost never happen, but when they do, the severity is just off the charts. And good safety management means you have to be ready for both. All right, let's shift gears a bit and bring this back to the human side of things. When something does go wrong at work, how does it actually impact our health? Well, there are 2 main ways, and the real difference between them is time. First up, you've got your classic workplace accident. This is your typical slip, trip, and fall kind of deal. It's a single, sudden event. You fall off a ladder, you touch a hot surface, you cut yourself with a tool. It happens in an instant, and the injury is immediate. Cause and effect right then and there. But then you have an occupational illness, and this is something that kind of creeps up on you. It's not one big event. It's the slow, steady result of being exposed to something over and over again for months or even years. Perfect examples are a construction worker slowly losing their hearing or an office worker developing carpal tunnel. It's a gradual process. So yeah, when you put them side by side, it's super clear. An accident happens in a moment. An illness develops through a process. And knowing that difference is absolutely crucial, not just for treating people, but for preventing it from happening in the first place. Okay, so we've talked about events, risks, and health impacts. Now, how do we actually keep an eye out for all this stuff? Well, we use technology, of course. And you guessed it, the specific words we use for that tech really matter. Let's start with a detector. Think of a detector as a simple yes or no machine. Its only job is to tell you if something is present or not. Is there smoke in this room? Yes or no. Is carbon monoxide present? Yes or no.
It's basically an on-off switch for a specific danger. A sensor, on the other hand, is a little more advanced. It doesn't just give you a simple yes or no. A sensor gives you data. It actually measures something, like the exact temperature or the pressure or the humidity, and gives you a specific reading. And this really breaks it down perfectly. A detector asks, is it there? Your smoke detector is a perfect example. It just needs to know if there's smoke. A sensor, however, asks, how much is there? Think about a thermostat in your house. It needs to know the exact temperature to do its job. So one is about presence, the other is about quantity. Simple as that.
Okay, we're on our final pair of terms. So what happens when one of these detectors or sensors actually goes off? How do we get the warning? Well, this leads us to the super important and often confused difference between an alarm and an alert.
First, the alarm. You know what an alarm is. It's loud, it's annoying, it's designed to be impossible to ignore. And for good reason. An alarm's only job is to basically scream in your ear, danger, right now, do something. Think of a fire alarm or a car alarm. It's all about getting you to react, immediately. An alert is a bit different. It's more informational. It's a notification that gives you context and information. And what's cool about alerts is their timing. They can warn you before something happens, like a weather alert on your phone. They can keep you updated during an event, like a traffic jam alert. Or they can give you info after the fact. So here's the bottom line. An alarm is designed to trigger an immediate, almost reflexive action. It says move. An alert, on the other hand, is a piece of intelligence. It gives you information so you can make a smart decision. One demands a reaction, the other provides information. All right, so let's quickly wrap up what we've covered. The big takeaways are, first, the outcome is everything when it comes to labeling an event. Second, risk is always a balance between how often and how bad. Third, remember, a detector asks if, while a sensor asks how much. And finally, an alarm screams danger, while an alert gives you information. Look, just understanding these words is a huge first step. But the real challenge, the real goal, is to use this knowledge to actually build a safer workplace culture. So the question I want to leave you with is this. How can we start to shift our focus from just reacting to accidents and alarms to proactively preventing them by paying attention to near misses and alerts? That's the conversation we all need to be having.